at an interesting stage in relationships. I was looking at some numbers from Pew Research, and these are numbers that are in some ways very concerning, in particularly in regards to relationships between males and females, particularly in their 20s and 30s. So about 50% of men and women in their 20s and 30s, particularly men, are not in a relationship and are not in any type of sexual relationship, and nor are they married. Okay? So they're not in a relationship, they're not in a sexual relationship, nor are they married. 50% of young men between the age of 20 and 30. Now, the number with women is higher. 60 to 70% of young women are single, all right? And these women are eligible, okay? But they have very high standards, and they're not putting up with a lot of nonsense, which is good, right? But what it's done is put this interesting dynamic where a lot of men feel as though they can't achieve or attract the woman of their dreams that they desire. And a lot of women have kind of, in some ways, moved on and given up on finding Mr. Right, which is a very interesting inflection point, because that means if you've given up, that means you're not preparing. That means you're not looking or looking to be in a relationship. There's various factors that are affecting these numbers, and I won't get into all of those right now. I'll probably get into this in part 2 of this conversation, because the numbers are staggering. The numbers should bring us pause, particularly us older generation, us parents of young adults, which I am. I'm a parent of 5 young adults between the age of 20 and 29, actually, interestingly enough. All of them between the age of 20 and 29. But my point is that where are we in our relationships? So there's this brother that put out a video that I ran across on Instagram, and I was very, very, very pleased and in agreement and highly agree with his take. It's something that I've been saying privately and to my wife and amongst friends, and I might have said a variation of it here, but the way he articulated it, I thought was beautiful. I thought it really hit it spot on. And he was talking about the number of men, eligible men seeking relationships, looking for relationships with women, and they seem to not be able to find the woman that provides and meets their needs, not just physical, but he's talking about more emotional needs. And I'll paraphrase what he's saying right now for the top of the show, and I'm gonna play the clip a little bit later on. But what he's saying is that we are in a time where women and men, particularly let's talk about moms for a moment. This brother said that women are raising their sons to be good men and take care of a woman, provide for a woman, be the good man that maybe even his mother didn't have. But they're raising their daughters to be self-sufficient, to be independent, and to not need a man. And he said this is contradictory, and it's kind of, I'm putting this, what I'm saying, it's creating a collision of culture of sorts. And I fully agree with what he said. Again, I'm gonna play the video in a little bit, but just restating what he said, that moms, in many ways, because 80% of African-American households are female-led. Okay, so let's just say, I'm not saying the dads are not in the picture. Let's just say, for the sake of this conversation, moms are doing a lot of the rearing. But the moms are preparing their sons and telling their sons, as mine did, you need to be a good man. Don't never take advantage of a woman. Always provide for your children. Always treat your wife with respect. Provide for your wife. Make sure that she has what she needs, that you're able to provide for her. That's what my mom told me. That's what a lot of women today, and I guarantee a lot of you women who are watching this right now, you probably either tell or told your son that exact thing. On the flip side, based on what this brother's saying is, you're teaching young women to be self-sufficient, to not need a man, to be independent. That's interesting. So what happens is those men who are desiring to be a good man and to lead his family and provide for his family, to be a good man, to truly lead his family, which means you have to make some decisions. To truly lead means you take charge. Doesn't mean that you discount what your wife says. Doesn't mean that you don't respect or honor your wife, but you lead in your household. What this brother's saying, and what I've noticed in culture and relationships and people that I observe and people that I talk to, is that some of the ladies feel like, well, you know, I'm going to do me. I do what I want to do. I don't have to listen to you. I don't have to consider you. And is that a total contradiction to what a healthy relationship is supposed to be? Is that a total contradiction to what many of us were taught and trained to believe a healthy relationship, a traditional nuclear family structure is supposed to be? See, the reason why I want to have this conversation, I want to get y'all thoughts on it. Again, this is going to be part one of part two, a two-part conversation. The reason why I want to get y'all thoughts on it is because I believe that we have to get back. We have to get our community back to strong families, men and women together, leading their households, brothers walking in their purpose, in their place, in their position as priest, prophet, provider, and protector in their household, leading their wives and their children, loving them, covering them, protecting them on all levels, in every way. And that is what's going to turn our community around. And my concern is if we don't get back to that, we're on a slippery slope. We're on a slow slide to someplace where none of us want to go. Let's talk about that today. I'm going to play this video, and we're going to have this conversation. Pastor Tuck and Donna, we're going to have this conversation. Yeah. And y'all, in the comments, what to do? Let's get into this. Yeah. Are we having a relationship, a cultural collision within our community? And let's talk about where some of us are, some of us older people. I'm 51. I understand. I've experienced, I've seen more of the traditional structure. I subscribe to more of the traditional relationship thinking. And we got a whole culture and a whole society where things are changing, and they're changing quickly, but at what cost? Let's get into this conversation. Hey, family, call your mama, call your daddy, call your auntie, call your uncle, call your cousin, call your friends, call your neighbor, call your coworker, call your Uber driver, call the pizza man, call your Walmart delivery guy, and let them all know that the Akintunde show is about to start. Let's go.
Another track lay production, but no joke entertainment. Let's go.
Akintunde is gonna make you laugh real loud. So
Get your laugh on.
Scream it out.
That's right.
Akintunde is
Say what?
gonna make you
Make it laugh.
real loud now. Akintunde.
Daily I shall.
It's the Akintunde Show.
Say what? Say what?
You heard what I said.
That's right, y'all.
The Akintunde Show.
Spell it.
A-K-I-N Tunde.
Looking for promotional products and apparel? Look no further than P&B Promotionals. Place your brand and logo on just about anything with P&B Promotionals. Over 800,000 products, caps, travel mugs, drawstring bags, water bottles, stadium cups, umbrellas, tote bags, and t-shirts. P&B Promotionals is a nationally certified advertising company. Log on to pbpromotionals.com and start your order now. pbpromotionals.com.
Imprinting the best for less.
At my church, we help people get better by teaching them how the word works, and we want to make sure there is no excuse not to get the word. It's our goal to make all of our ministries accessible on every smartphone, tablet, PC, and television connected to the internet. So whether you're a man who needs some wisdom, a woman who needs some encouragement, or a couple who needs guidance, the My Church channel has just what you need. Simply search for the My Church channel on Roku, Fire Stick, or Apple TV, or visit mychurchchannel.org. You can also download the My Church on the Go app from Apple or Google Play App Store. Constantly on the move? Check out the Word at My Church podcast on your favorite podcast platform. Or simply download the Word at My Church skill on your Alexa-enabled device. But whatever you do, make sure to stay connected. See you soon.
Hey, family. Welcome to the Akintunde Show. As you can see, I am not Akintunde. I am the producer of the Akintunde Show, Donna J here, and I am so glad that you guys stayed in. I know it was a little bit of trouble trying to log in today for everyone to come on and log in, and usually we're in Clubhouse and Apple TV and all the other streaming platforms, but we had a little trouble getting into Clubhouse today. So, but we're here, and we're glad you're here with us today. Ak is out of the building today. He is doing a workshop for his Attitude series, and we're going to talk a little bit about that in just a few minutes. But I'm excited. I'm excited to be sitting in the big chair, in the big dog chair. And I have my co-hosts. They are here as well. The other two co-hosts, we have Jason Earls from North Garland Baptist Fellowship, and of course, Pastor Lewis Tucker from My Church. And I'm going to bring them up. We're not going to waste any more time. We're going to bring them up. Bring them up for me, Jaleel. And also, let me say, we have Jaleel in the house today, so we're going to go ahead and talk to him as well. Hey, guys, how you doing?
What up?
Hey. The inmates are running the asylum today.
Jason, you muted in Clubhouse.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That was me, my bad.
No, there he is. Hey, Jason.
What's up, baby?
All right. I'm going to turn it up just a little bit.
Everybody in a minute.
I know.
Yes, sir, been missing my man.
Yes, we're so
I was about to fly
excited.
to Dallas and go looking for him. I said they ain't done nothing to my boy out there.
We're so excited to have you on today, Jason, you know. So welcome.
Listen,
So what have you been doing?
we don't even have time. Man, you see, I'm glad we had a technical difficulty because I wouldn't have made it. Had it.
Wow.
But man, I'm in the grind of pastoring. There's no other way to say it. Not anything necessarily negative, but it's just a whole lot. I'm feeling the load of it now, and
I can't wait to have Jason on my show, The Heart of the Pastor, because people do not understand what that mantle carries. And that's the purpose of that new show, is to show people so that you have an appreciation for who the man of God is, man.
Yes.
His heart, for what his life looks like, for what that is, so that people have an appreciation for that. Because I think there's so much misinformation, so much myths about the man and women of God, and they don't understand what we sacrifice, what we have to give up to serve in ministry. And it's truly service. And I think it's one of the most unappreciated, one of the most important gifts that God gave to the body. And for years, the enemy has diminished its importance. He's discredited, the office. And we have to regain honor for that, because so much of the community, of the society, rest on what God has placed within us. And our job is to help rebuild this thing. And if you don't have honor for the tools that God gave you, you're not going to be very good at being able to rebuild what he gave you.
Yes. Bro. And I tell you that I feel like this is one of the things, and you guys probably can attest to this, that a lot of pastors get burnt out quickly. They get burnt out quickly. Yes.
Yep, less than 2 years it is.
Wow.
And, and I get it now. Not necessarily that I didn't get it before. That's kind of why I kind of avoided it. But now I'm at the place where, man, if you're gonna do it right and do it with your whole heart, it just takes, man, it takes a lot. In particular, the importance of watching over your own soul and your own doctrine. It's man, that what we would call self-care.
Right.
Yeah.
Man, just the busyness and the weight that it takes even to delegate well,
Yeah.
and to set things up, and then in the midst of managing a family, you know, 6 kids, in the midst of,
Yeah.
you know, it's just
Maintaining your marriage, keeping
Brother.
your household. I mean,
Brother.
it's so much to that.
Six
People don't
kids.
get it, man.
Yeah.
I
6
can-
kids can
I
be a
can
congregation by itself. So
shut down children's church.
yeah.
But just knowing what, like, so every day, like, so you wake up in the morning, just my schedule. So I wake up in the morning, you know, get my kids up, you know, and, you know, have my own, you know, quiet time in the midst of, you know, my wife and I helping the kids get their day started. And then in the midst of spending like a little bit of time with her in the morning, go to the church, you know, and just begin the day hustle. Again,
Wow.
being 4 months in, there's a lot of stuff that needs to, you know, be established, needs to take place that's formulated right now that you can't necessarily put off. And then from there, you got kids coming home from you know, around 4 o'clock, and then just because, you know, we've homeschooled before and we understand the importance of discipleship with our kids.
Right.
When they go into their school system, it's important that we have that debriefing time so that their minds are consistently being shaped in the word. And so then you do that, you have dinner, then you have some phone calls because everybody in the church that need they're in leadership that can't talk during the 9 to 5 hours.
Right.
So they got to talk after hours. Then next thing you know, dude, it's like, oh snap! I ain't spent no time for myself, like doing was healing for myself. Yo, so it's just like
It's a lot.
yeah,
It's a lot. And then
then,
plus
like,
you
dog, the Ox show today.
right. And then you have your own other show too. You have your other show too, right? The
What
kids.
Kids-
Are you still doing that?
Kids-
The Kids Beach Club?
What? So the great thing about Kids Beach Club is funny. They just text me right now as we've been talking. But with Kids Beach Club and with most TV shows or movies that you see, we film like the early part of the summer. So or in the spring. So typically we'll have a week or 3 days where we'll just cram out 5 to 20 episodes. And so I haven't filmed anything for Kids Beach Club, the TV show, since June. So that's, you know, that's got a life of its own now.
Right.
Shout out to the 9 Telly Awards that we won. So I mean, it's
Ooh. That's
Yeah.
great. Don't
So life
don't
is-
pass that by. Say it again.
No.
Say it again. You won.
9 Telly Awards. I say for 9 Telly Awards. You heard it.
Man.
And nominated for a Host of the Year.
Yes, yes.
International Host of the Year.
International Host of the Year.
yeah,
So.
man. It's right now. It's a tough season because it's almost like, man, if I could show you the amount of missed text messages that I got on my phone, the amount of missed calls, 389 missed text messages.
That's why I don't even trip. I just send him. I say because he'll find mine when he need it.
Yeah.
It'll come up.
187 voicemails.
Oh my goodness. Those are the things that you have not had time to look at.
Yeah, I
And
don't.
see that-
Ooh,
and,
wow.
And see, and most people don't recognize. Most people mad. Jason ain't called me back. Jason, see, if I need him, then I know how to get a hold of him.
Yes.
But it's like most of the time when I send him something, it's because I know he gonna need that at some point when I send it to him.
Mm-hmm.
And it's there for him to find it at the moment when he need it. God will lead him to it when he need it.
That's right. That's right.
Nevertheless, the Ox show must go
He's
on.
here.
Yes,
He's
sir.
here.
We
He's
it's
here.
going on. We blessing
He's
somebody
here.
right now. We
Yep.
blessing somebody right now.
Yeah,
I do
so-
need a personal assistant, Ashley. I do need a
Uh-oh.
personal assistant. I was thinking
Uh-oh.
that last night.
Well, and
That'll make my life a lot more easy.
And speaking of Ashley, let's look and see who's here today. Let me, so you'll be patient with us because, it's the inmates, So
Oh, yeah,
we are running the asylum. So let's.
We got the crew. The crew. That's one thing I love about the Ox family. Must say, even when we move, they find us.
That's great.
They loyal.
Let's.
We got our folks in the building. We got Paul Briggs. We got Leon Campbell. We got Celeste King in the comments. Got Mocha Tosses.
Mocha.
Ashley Bailey.
Tori Free.
Audrey Richardson.
So good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
Got
Kelly.
Tori Free in the comments this morning.
Yes. Yes.
Mama Karen Earl's in the comments this morning.
Hi, Mother
Mama, I
Karen.
love you. Sorry, I ain't called, Mama.
Is she in those 300 missed calls?
I just saw my dad. He said, and Mom and Dad get an update text. After 11 p.m.
Lashana Lloyd.
All right, Lashana. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Kimberly Morgan just popped in.
She did. Hi, Kimberly.
Yeah, that's not even just those just the people in the comments. We
Yep.
got one of my disciples, Sis Karen in the building. Jermaine in the building, Brother Leon.
Yes.
Brother Michael, another one of my disciples in the building.
All right.
Mary, is that just Mary Motley?
Mary Motley just popped. Hey, Marion, how are you?
What's happening? What's happening?
Okay.
I'm gonna
Bernadette.
do the
Yes.
What's up, Robert? Did I get that right?
Yeah.
Robert. What's up?
Robert Earls? Yeah.
What's up? Pay all. Paul. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
sir.
All
Yes, sir.
right.
Oh, y'all share this room for us because we're not in our normal location.
That's
So
right.
everybody not be able to find us, but we are on all our normal platforms this morning. Clubhouse has done some restructuring, and so before Ark left, he did not see that, and so that's why we had a little trouble this morning trying to get the room set up because they've gone to some kind of house format, and so we'll get that straight by next week. But that kind of took us off guard this morning, so we just had to set up a room out here in the wild. We're not in the Kingdom Business Network, even though we're affiliated. We out here in the wild.
We in the wild.
Can I just
Yes.
gorillas in the midst.
Can I just say though, I in the midst of when an Ox show came on and the promotionals that were going on, and I saw that my church app was on Apple TV. So I downloaded it right quick. Dude, this joint looks great, brother.
It's awesome. It is
Thank you, sir.
absolutely awesome.
It looks great on this TV in my office, brother.
Thank you, sir.
Let's
Thank you,
go.
sir.
In his
They got
office.
My church in North Garland.
Yes, sir.
Come
Thank you, sir.
on,
Thank you,
come
sir.
on,
We love
come on.
it. We love it. Everybody out in the Ox family, make sure you download it on whatever streaming device you have.
Amen.
On whatever phone, tablet you have. It's available. You can get us wherever you at. We want to make sure you got whatever tools you need to become whatever you need to be in Christ. Thank you,
Look
Brother
at that.
Jaleel. For
Look
my
at Jaleel.
Wonderful screen
Jaleel.
graphics. Look at that. Look at that. All
Let's
the
go.
information right there on the screen for you. Whatever device you have, we make sure it's available. And you can go out there and see the Ox Show. You can go out to the Word at My Church. You can see Brother Jason preaching. You can even see Akintunde preaching. If you go back in the VODs on the video on demand, you can see Akintunde preaching. Yeah. I even had Akintunde preach while I was on sabbatical. So go out and check that out.
Wow.
And shout out to Pastor Tuck and Pastor Stephanie for the funeral home picture pose that they got.
Hey, I had to pose in case we want to make some fans. You know?
Hey, look at that, y'all. Listen.
Just in case we wanted to make some fans, you know what I'm saying? Some brochures, you know what I'm saying? In case we need, I had to be cast, get ready.
Right.
Get right.
That's all right. So
Yeah,
you
ready for
got
Mr.
this
Parker
picture.
and funeral home. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Join
Yes,
us.
sir.
Join us.
2 locations.
Join us.
Oh, Jamal Bates
Yes,
just
sir.
joined in, so I want to say, hey,
Jamal
Jamal,
Bates in the
welcome,
building.
welcome. So we have these topics today, gentlemen. I'm going to wrangle the cats right now. You know, I call you wrangle the cats. And so we're going to talk today about, Ak was talking earlier about how we're raising our kids. How we're raising our kids, or how women. He was saying that women. He and I had this conversation earlier this week, and he was talking about how mothers were raising the sons, how to treat women, pretty well and whatnot. And I got that confirmation from a young man that works with me at Delta. His name is Jordan. He's 19. And I asked him last night, I was like, Jordan, what did your mother tell you about how you deal with women? Because he has a girlfriend. She's overseas right now. And they talk all the time, FaceTime and whatnot. And I said, Jordan, what'd your mother? He said, to be kind, because you never know what she's been through before before she met you, to be considerate, and just to love her, to really love her through things. So I was like, okay. So with that being said, I said, okay, maybe that's true. And I know Pastor Tuck has a different spin on this, but I'm gonna tell you what they told me. So then I was asking some females. I said, well, what did your mother tell you to do? Be strong, take care of yourself, don't rely on anybody to do anything for you, and always have a separate bank account just in case. So those were the 4 things that I gathered from them. Always keep a separate bank account just in case you got to get up out of there or whatever. So in that case, I'm saying that men are women, mothers are teaching men to love their women or to respect their women, open the doors and whatnot, but they are telling the women, you don't really need them. Stand on your own 2 feet. What do y'all say about that, gentlemen? What do y'all say? I know Pastor Tuck. We've had this. So, Jason, go ahead and tell me what do you think about that, Jason?
Go first.
Yeah. So, first of all, y'all probably need a different group of y'all probably need a little bit more diverse group of brothers here, because all of us think the same.
Now he's 19. He's 19.
So all right. So give me the question again. Give me the straight up question. What is it that you want to know? Because I can attack about 18 different things. But
okay. So how are mothers raising their sons different from how they're raising their daughters?
Let me frame it for you the way Ak framed it.
Okay.
Ak said that women are raising their sons to be to treat women properly,
right?
Because they want young men to basically be the men that they wanted, but they're raising their daughters to be independent. He says, so young men are complaining that they can't find the women that they're looking for because of that. He says so, and women are complaining. He says so we're creating this culture clash,
right? And
so I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna let Jason go before I just want to frame the conversation in the narrative that I put out there first,
okay,
based on the video he saw,
right?
Yeah. So man, so how do we tackle this stuff in the culture? One, I'll just give an over and let you take it. I'll give this just a brief overview.
Okay.
Here's the reality. I think a lot of us, where there's no vision, the people perish.
Say that.
So what vision in that proverb means is the oracle of God, what God has said. So when you don't know what God has said or God's blueprint, then it's not.
Jesus.
You run wild. You cast off restraint. In other words, how in the Bible said, in that day there was no judge in Israel, and everybody did what was right in their own eyes. You've got people who are doing what they think is the best that they can do, but it's far from what God wants. So, because of that, you got a lot of you have what we have now. You have marriages, you have relationships that are haywire. I ain't said that word in a long time, but they're just off the charts and off target from the blueprint because they've been raised by people who've missed it.
Man, man, that's that's my brother right there.
See that?
Jay Youngblood, tag team, Ricky Steamboat, right off the top ropes. I'm telling you, what Jason just said, me and him could tag team a sermon based off what he just said right there.
That would be fun, bro.
Oh, that would be so fun. Oh man, I love that. Oh, I love that. Do you hear what he just said? He said, because there is no vision. Because vision is simply a visible representation of what God has presented.
Come on, sir.
Basically, when we basically have conceptualized something that we can see based off something that God has said. Because we do not have a visible representation, we have not conceptualized God's word, God's original blueprint, his plan. That's what a blueprint is. It's a visual representation, a concept of God's original instruction. Because we don't have one, he said we cast off restraint. Basically, we have no guidelines. We have no, there is no rule to go by. So now we do whatever we think. We establish our own. And because of that, that's why relationships and households standards look like what they do. And we're seeing that because of exactly that. People are growing, we have generations that are growing up in households that they have never seen what marriage looks like.
Right.
They've never seen what a healthy relationship looks like.
Right.
And because of that, now they're redefining it based off of media, arts, entertainment, because of what they see on TV, what they listen to on radio, the music they listen to, the movies they watch, what they hear on social media. They're trying to build this idea of what a husband or wife should look like based off these things versus what one actually should look like. We've even got people building their relationships based off what they've seen in their house, and that wasn't built on a proper blueprint. If you go and try to build a house based off of a clubhouse or a tree house that somebody built in the backyard, your house is not going to be very stable, because even though that was something that you saw and you had something to go by, it was not built according to the actual plans. So it's not going to be strengthened. It's not going to be structurally sound because it did not follow an actual plan. It might have given you a guideline, but its guideline was off. And so you can't make a copy off of something that's already flawed. If you give me a piece of paper and it's already got a coffee stain and a gravy stain on it, then when I make a copy, mine's going to have a coffee stain and a gravy stain on it, and it's going to be faded.
That's right.
And so the next one after that is going to have a coffee stain, gravy stain, faded, and it's going to continue to degrade over time. And so the only way to get a proper copy is to go back to the original.
Woohoo! Well, you know what? I'm gonna jump in here because Jaleel is almost 30. So Jaleel, what do you think about this, Jaleel? I'm gonna put you on. What do you think about this? What we're talking about today? Because you're in, the 30. You're seeking your bride.
Yeah,
I'm sure. So what do you think?
Okay.
Can I say one thing?
Yeah,
before
sure,
you go?
please.
I want to ask a question, Donna. That young man that you were asking, he was giving you all these wonderful answers. Did you ask him who does his laundry?
He lives at home.
Did you ask him who cooks for him?
He lives at home.
Because these wonderful things that we say, yeah, your mama told you to treat her right, he told you to do these things, but is your mama actually making you the guy that's capable
of being that
being
husband?
This guy? And that's a whole nother issue.
That's
because
right.
You're telling me that this is who I'm supposed to be to this woman, and this is the woman I should be looking for, but am I even qualified for her when I find her?
True that. Okay. Jaleel, go ahead and jump in. Jump in right now.
Well, I appreciate the opportunity to even speak. Good morning, Clubhouse. Good morning, panel.
Good morning, Jaleel. My favorite monarch.
How y'all doing this morning? Y'all doing all right this morning?
We are doing great.
Well.
That's good.
I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're here in the studio today with me.
I appreciate it. I'm always here helping. I want to be balanced because I know I have some, I would say, different takes on things. My takes, I would say, I'm not trying to be too divergent because I don't want to be divisive. But I would say that before I say anything, my takes are probably are things that I've kind of worked on and weeded out after years of hurt and my own mental health struggles and whatnot, and resentments and issues and whatnot. So now I've gotten to a place where I can say, as it pertains to all of this, I would say that, I agree for the most part. Yeah, men and women, boys and girls are taught differently. Men are taught, as pertains to women, to take care of and respect women. Women are taught. I would say, from experience to respect and care for themselves. But when it comes to relationships, particularly marriage, to respect the man, but also to still keep an eye out for themselves if it comes down to it. And in certain circles, it comes down to that. I would say that. Try not to lose my thought here, but I would say that because I want to be balanced.
Just let it flow. Let it flow.
Okay, so I'll do that.
You know, you don't have to censor it
All right,
because
cool.
this is how you feel.
Take your
So
time.
go ahead.
Take your time.
Yeah, let him use you.
Okay, so I will. Okay, so I will be honest then.
Yes.
I know for me, to be honest, I've struggled with the biblical interpretation of marriage between men and women because, as you read the text, you know, it doesn't offer a lot of wiggle room. You know, men respect and take care of their wife. Women respect their husband. You know, usually it puts the man in the position at the head of the household, and the women, you know, underneath that. I could be interpreting that wrong, and I likely am, I will say, but I've always struggled with that. I remember bringing that up in a therapy session a long time ago. I always struggled with that. And in some ways I still do, just without the anger and the resentment. Now it's more like, well, what kind of man do I want to be when it comes time for me to be married? Because I know for me, I'm a big believer in balance. If there's no balance in a relationship, romantic or not, then it's going to fall apart for me. And I've always felt like, for me, my greatest fear as a man, as an eventual husband and father, is being the quote unquote man of the house, but letting my power get out of hand. That's my concern. I don't think I would do that because I'm too terrified of the idea of impeding upon my wife's, you know, voice and her ideas and all that stuff. I'm terrified of that idea. I am deeply terrified.
What do you mean by the power? When you said that you're afraid of the power,
I guess not so much power. I'm afraid.
Domination.
Yeah, domination. That's it. That's
okay.
it.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
And I applaud you for, like you say, your honesty.
That's
And
right.
you're in exactly the right place to get that clarity because you got two husbands, fathers,
Yes.
men of God that's gonna give you the clarity on exactly what you're talking about. Because, and this is what I want you to understand. I know you to be a creative, okay?
Mm-hmm.
How are you when it comes to stuff like math, or is there a subject in school that you're weaker in than others?
I'm weak in math. I'm very weak.
Okay.
Very
All
weak.
right. So you're more creative type thinker, okay? And so let's say, for example, Donna was a young lady. And Donna is yes, you are a young lady, but I'm saying Jalil's age, okay? Because we don't want you going to jail. we don't want the folks sending us letters. But let's say Donna was more your age, and she was your love interest, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And Donna was a math whiz, okay? She's good at stuff like that. And in a household, there are certain things that Donna's gonna be better at than you are.
Mm-hmm.
That's where balance comes in.
Okay.
So it wouldn't make sense for both of y'all to divide up
Mm-hmm.
the math chores because they would be more laborious for you to do.
Mm-hmm.
Easier for her to do. That makes sense?
That makes me happy, to be honest. That's how I think.
Yes.
Because if I can say something, I've accumulated some female friends recently, and being around them has taught me, from a platonic standpoint, the importance of having women in your life. There is something about having a good woman in your life as a friend, or I haven't experienced too much in the romance area, but just as a friend, as a strong friend who's there by your side, having them in your life is so life-changing to me. I can't stress that enough, how important it is to have a good, healthy female voice in your life, man.
Yes.
Because some men are afraid of the female voice, but I'm telling you, if you have that in your life, it will balance you out when you need it. your masculine voice kind of needs to be balanced out by the more feminine voice anyway, because sometimes the
Yes.
masculine can veer off, and that feminine voice will bring you right back. In many
Come
ways,
on,
so
sir.
it balances you out. And based on what you said from the biblical perspective, the model of marriage and whatnot, I appreciate that, and that makes me feel better because I have much anxiety about marriage, and so that makes me feel good.
And there's nothing and there's nothing better than that. The Bible, God said this in the beginning. Remember, He said it was not good for man to be alone. God said it's not good for you to try to do what I've called you to do in life by yourself. He said, so I'm going to give you a help meet.
Come on, sir.
Someone to help you meet your responsibilities,
Yes.
to help you meet this call that I've placed on your life. So he says, I'm going to give you somebody that's going to help you balance this load. That's where the balance comes in at.
Okay.
But the key is understanding the call I still gave to you, the responsibility I still gave to you. So that's the reason for the headship, is because the responsibility he gave, the assignment he gave to you. So that's the reason for the headship, because in any country, in any company, in any organization, there are not co-presidents. There's a president and a vice president.
That's right.
So when we talk about headship, there has to be, when it comes down to it, unless if there are two people, we can get to the point of a tie, and now we have indecision. We cannot move forward. Somebody has to have the authority to say, because I'm the one in authority, this is the direction we're going. You follow me? That does not mean that you negate the input or negate what you're getting from somebody else. That means that's your ultimate authority. You have that position, and that's how you operate in that position. The balance comes in there are times when you delegate that position to her, because in a household where you have daughters or you have something else taking place where she's better at than you, as Jason said, as a pastor, part of that delegation is saying, this is something that this particular leader is better at than I am. So instead of me just saying, because I'm the pastor, I'm going to do that. No, because I'm the pastor, the wise thing to do is to delegate that to my more capable leader. And that's where balance comes in at.
Yes.
But that's my role and that's my responsibility. That's who I am, because when it all comes down to it, they want to know who's responsible.
Yes, sir.
Jason Earls is the pastor. Jason Earls is the father. He's the husband. Somebody's name goes on that line. And because of that, that's what comes with that role. And that's why we have that responsibility. That's what biblical marriage is about. And so many people don't understand that.
Go ahead, Jason.
When it's done according to the blueprint, there's a natural response. Even we heard it in your voice, Jaleel. Like when you started talking about, like when Pastor Tuck talked about the balance, and you like, oh yeah, your whole voice changed.
Yes. Yeah.
It was like, oh yeah, I heard the birds chirping.
Yeah.
You said that.
You took a weight off of his shoulders when you told him about balance.
Because can I say something? Then I'll let y'all have
Sure,
the floor, of course.
sure.
Cause this is actually a very relieving conversation. So what it sounds like to me, having a wife in your life and being the head of the household, isn't this oppressive thing. It's more like, hey, you're the appointed leader of the household. You take care of your wife, you take care of your kids, but your wife, in many ways, she's your partner, she's your counsel. And in situations where you're not capable, she steps in some ways. You know, does that sound right? Like she's the one who, it's like you're getting, it's like you partner with your wife, counsel with her, talk, all that stuff, hash it out. Then you make the final decision as the head of the household in a respectful way, as you should, and you're appointed, in your appointed position. And then, of course, in the situations where you are at your weakest, your wife can step in and pick up the slack where you can't. So,
Yes.
Can I testify and kind of illustrate that a little bit?
Sure,
and
sure.
Even teach some. So even Jaleel, just know that you won't even be the perfect husband. Like there's sometimes that even in leading, you might make the wrong decision. So for instance, so y'all heard me talking about just the weight that I'm experiencing right now. And so yesterday, my wife saw that I was working like a dog, just meeting after meeting, strategy session after strategy session. And I went to the church refrigerator to get just some junk. There was some ice cream, and I was like, I'm gonna eat this ice cream. And she was like, no way. So then I stepped to another meeting, and she came and got me. She was like, how long you got? I'm taking you to lunch. And I was like, okay. So she saw that I was about to eat horribly, just some ice cream for my lunch. First of all, she stepped in like, no way, brother. I'm not going to let you eat that. Came into a meeting and said, how long are you going to be? Because I need to take you to take care of yourself. So after that, I cut that meeting short. Like, yep, I need to take care of myself. So I go, and she's like, where do you want to eat? I'm driving. So, of course, I know she's saying, brother, I want you to lead. I'm taking you to eat, but I want you to pick the place where you feel like you can eat something that's good for you. It was 2 places, Jaleel, 2 places. And I was like, okay, I made this turn, and I'm about to go to my first thought of a restaurant. But then I thought, you know what? Let me save a little bit of money, and I'm going to go to restaurant B. Went in restaurant B, and dude, the food was horrible.
Oh no!
The food was horrible. I ate it. It was good for me, but I'm sitting there and I'm not enjoying it. And my wife is trying to enjoy hers. And I was like, this isn't good. And she was like, no, it's not. However, I'm glad that you chose this place. And so that's small, but that thing is layered with, in the midst of her seeing me working hard, came and rescued me to make sure I take care of myself. And in the midst of all this pressure that I'm facing, she sees that I made a decision and didn't make the best decision, but yet affirmed me in making the decision and pulled out the positive in it.
Amen.
And that's very small, but it's also just saying that, man, God gave me this woman to balance me and to have my back.
See, that's all right, and that's what it's supposed to be. That's exactly what it's supposed to be like. And I'm looking in the comments, and let's go to some of the comments because they're lighting them up. So let's see, Leon Campbell. Now I don't have my glasses on, so please bear with me. I don't know how I forgot my glasses. But Leon Campbell, I'm like looking at the phone like, oh.
Go ahead, Jay.
Leon Campbell says, that right there is a great example of how the wife covers the husband by looking out for man. So, so Leon Campbell agrees with you. I mean, that was a great story because even in the small things, like that might not seem like a big thing out in the big scope of things, but the best thing is about that she had you covered. And even though you didn't make the best decision about the food, she was like, I still got your back. That part don't matter.
One of the things I told Pastor Stephanie when we first got married, I said, this is the thing. I may not make every right decision. I said, but I'm man enough. All I need you to do is to trust me. I said, but I'm man enough to correct it and take responsibility for it. And that's what being a man really is in marriage, Jaleel. It's this. All I asked was my wife is to trust me as the leader. And if I take us down the wrong road, I'm going to be the one that pays for it.
Yeah.
I'll never ask you to go get a second job to fix a financial decision that I made because you put your trust in me.
Come on, sir.
I'll never be the one to ask you to sleep on the ground. I'm going to be man enough because if I made the bad decision, then it's on me.
Come on, sir.
You're not going to be the one that suffers behind my bad decision. And because of that, people don't understand. They've never been able to understand me and my wife's relationship because my wife and our relationship is biblical. My wife, they look at my wife and they think my wife is weak because they see her, she teaches submission, she walks in it, and they're like, what is that? They've never seen nothing that looks like that before. Because my wife doesn't give me anything I say, my wife goes along with it. And it's not because she's weak. It's because she know who I'm following.
Yes,
and that's the key, Jaleel. It's not about me exerting dominance on her. You establish a pattern that if you're following God, I always teach young husbands this way. Your job is to look so much like Jesus that your family follows you by accident.
Wow. Wow. That's
if you
strong.
pattern your life after Christ, they will follow you by accident. They'll think they won't even know, because when you speak, you sound like God. When you walk, you look like God. So they'll follow you by accident because they're used to following God.
Come on, sir.
And that's the pattern that you need to establish. And that's where most men get off track, because they want somebody who's going to follow them. They want somebody to do what they want them to do. And that's where, where I said I had an issue with this whole thing of, these young men saying they can't find a woman that's going to do this. And I know I've got 2 young women that I've raised up, and they're smart, they're well educated. I mean, my oldest daughter will be 24 next year, and she'll have 3 degrees.
Wow. See that?
My youngest daughter will be 21 next year, and she'll have 2 and going on a 3rd one. Wow. And they like I said, they know how to do anything they need to do. If something break, they know how to fix it. And if they can't, they call me and get on the phone, and I can talk them through it. So when people say, "Oh, they're independent," no, they aren't independent, because they understand the concept of submission, but they're not going to submit to somebody who's not submitted to God.
And then aren't you supposed to submit to your husband? It don't say submit to every man. It says submit to your husband.
It says wives submit to
That's
your
it.
husband.
So,
Say that, Donna.
Now I'm telling because I'm gonna tell you, I've run into
You are
some
not required to
jokers.
submit to me, Jason, Aka, nobody
That's
else.
right.
You're supposed to submit to Rufus when he shows up.
And I'm waiting for him too. I'm waiting for him.
Until then, you have all you have to do is submit to Christ and practice that art of submission. And if Rufus shows up looking like Christ, you will have no problem submitting to Rufus.
That's it. Can I play this for a minute?
Yeah, talk about the duck call, sir.
Can I say this one more time?
Go ahead, say it. Go ahead.
Daily I shall. All right.
Yeah.
I wanted to get that in there.
See,
Okay.
So I got this. I got this when I did a comedy show in Stuttgart, Arkansas. Stuttgart, Arkansas is the duck capital and rice capital of the world. And so they gave me this duck call thing. So this duck call, this is the number one thing that helps them kill a duck.
Yeah.
And here's why. This thing mimics what the duck is attracted to, but it's not the real thing.
Oh. And you go into your death.
So when they hear the duck call,
Here they come.
think that they're so attracted to it and so horny as ducks, then they run to that duck because they want relationship and fall for the wrong thing and wind up getting murdered.
Murdered.
And that's what's happening with relationships and families around here. We falling for the okie doke. There are a bunch of duck calls around here.
I tell
Things
you.
that we're attracted to, but not the real thing.
All right. So just so you know, if you're just tuning in, Ak is not here today. The inmates are running the asylum, and Ak is not here today. He is doing a workshop, a 90-minute workshop as part of his Attitude series. And if you're not familiar with the Attitude series, I'm going to throw that over there to Pastor Tuck, because he knows a little bit more about the series and can speak on it. Pastor Tuck, tell us a little bit about Ak's Attitude series.
Yeah, Ak has designed a leadership training course on attitude based on basically his experience, basically raising five kids, because you can't raise 5 kids with bad attitudes. And he's had a desire to raise his children to be successful. And so basically he's modeled this in business, in parenting, and now he's turned this into a corporate training model. And you could bring Ak in to lead your leaders in your whatever, your church, your organization, your business. But this has been a highly effective tool of success, because a lot of times what keeps us from winning is having a bad attitude. I've had him come in and teach our leaders, and like I said, it'll take your organization to the next level. So if you want to book Ak, just go to IamAkintunde.com and click book Akintunde and let him know you want him to come in and do this workshop on attitudes for your people. I'm telling you, it will bless your congregation. It'll bless your organization. It'll help you go to the next level.
That's right.
Your attitude determines your altitude. So
Yes.
Say that, Jason.
attitude
Say that,
Yes.
Jason.
by the altitude, dude.
The Akintunde dude is going to tell you about your attitude.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That determines your altitude. So,
And
Right.
you know, go Go ahead.
A verse popped up in my mind as I talked about the duck call. Satan transforms himself as the angel of light. That's all I got to say.
Man.
You know, the mosquito is attracted to light, and there's this bug light that we set up in our backyard, and so the light that the mosquito sees is so close to the original light from the mosquito's perspective. It's drawn to it, and as it's drawn to this counterfeit light, it zaps it, and so we are successful with getting rid of the mosquitoes.
Yes.
Satan desires to take you all out in your relationships and your marriages even before they start. And the way that he does that by setting up a mosquito bug light so that you can be attracted to the wrong thing and go on in and get zapped.
Man.
That's all I got to say.
Man.
And you know, I was telling Donna last night. I said one of the issues I think that we're seeing in this time, like you said, about how we're raising our kids. I think it's a societal issue. You got so many kids that are growing up in single parent households, and they've not seen what healthy relationships look like, and so it's in us to not want to be by ourselves. So at a certain point in time, everybody gets to that point where they want a relationship of some sort. So a lot of times it's ladies who desire to want to be married, whether it's from watching the movies and the fairy tales and all of the and the problem is a lot of times they want weddings, but they don't want marriages.
Ooh, say that again, Pastor Tuck.
They're looking for the ceremony, they're looking for the gown, they're looking for the party
That's
and
right.
everything. But they're nobody's equipping them for the marriages. They don't know what it's all about. They just want the big show.
Yes.
And you get guys, they want somebody because they don't want to be by themselves. You know, they made the money, they've got the success. You know, they get tired of the jumping from here to here, to running around, doing all that. So they're almost just kind of tired of playing. So they want something different. And so when they get to that point and they come into this relationship, but they're not equipped for it because it's almost like the dog chasing the car and don't know what to do once they catch him. Because if you've never grown up in a household, you know, like your kids, Jason, my kids, they've seen what healthy relationship looks like. They've been in the house and seen you and Terry laugh, joke, play, how y'all get along, how y'all spend time together, what that is. But you think about it, a lot of these young people, they've never done that. So now you get married, now you're in the house with somebody 24 hours a day, and it's like, I'm gonna play some PlayStation.
Man, COVID brought that out a
I'm
lot.
gonna sit on here with TikTok.
COVID brought that to the surface. He
exposed
exposed
it.
it.
Exposed it. And so
Yes.
that's why you got these people who get married and in these relationships, and every day he trying to go shoot ball, he trying to go somewhere else, she trying to go hang out with the girls. It's like you together, but you're not, because you don't know how, because you never saw that. And I was telling Donna last night, I grew up in a house where I saw my mom and dad play fight all the time. You know, they play argued all that. You know, I mean, it was always playful. And my kids see that with me and my wife, even while they were gone. I remember when we first were empty nesters, as they called it. They were kind of worried about how we were going to do, and they would call, and we're in there laughing and joking. And so I think that was really good for them to be able to see that. But that's in their mind; they're not going to settle for anything else.
Right.
They're waiting for the fact that they find a guy that's going to treat them like I treat their mom. They're waiting for a relationship that they can have like that. And so that's why they're at the place where, you know, every guy they talk to, you know, you talking to them, and like you said, they're counterfeiting, they're masquerading as this angel of light, and they start having these pretend conversations, and then next thing you know, they proposition them, and they like to the left.
Oh, wow.
You know what's amazing? I started falling for the okie doke when I was in college. Man, I had this girl that I was talking to, or actually going with, and man, I just started getting tired of her.
Why? Why were you getting tired of her?
Yo, she was different. She wasn't like she wasn't a Southern girl. She had just moved to Hampton from California. And I was like, man, she just happy. Like,
What was it? Too much happiness.
she want to hold my hand all the time and
look
try
at
to
that.
kiss me in front of my mom and dad. Like, yo, you just different.
It's like back up.
Why you like this, man? It's just so then I started. I didn't want to necessarily like break her heart.
Mm-hmm.
So I just started distancing myself.
Mm-hmm.
And my dad saw that.
Mm-hmm.
And my dad said, so you're not gonna tell this girl how you feel?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, no. I'm just gonna
Kind of fade to black.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, I didn't raise you like that.
Yes.
Wow.
That's not what a man does. And I was like, woo.
Mm-hmm. Get him, Pop Earls. Get him. Get him.
Yo, I was like, I didn't realize that a lot of times we can feel good about being the wrong person in a relationship.
Yeah.
Say that.
Mm-hmm.
Man, our flesh loves to act a fool and not act according to the blueprint.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And thank God that I had a dad that saw me being passive
Mm-hmm.
and not just being passive, but also not being the leader and protecting the girl's heart. And he was
Right.
like, yo, that ain't how we raised you, man.
To the woodshed.
Yo,
Say that.
man, I've been looking forward to my boys acting a fool just so I can give them that same one.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you that then, Jason. Let's step in. Let's step in there, Jason. You have sons and daughters. So how are you raising your sons? Are you, you and Terry, are you raising the sons the way that, to treat the women with respect and whatnot, and raising the daughters to be independent and stand on their own? Are you raising your kids like that? How are you raising your kids?
We show our kids teach and show our kids what the Bible says.
Mm-hmm.
It's like,
Say
hey,
that.
like,
That's called training.
absolutely. And like identifying just things that are corrupt in the culture and relationships, both boys and girls. And that's been great because there was a girl that my son was interested in, and we were walking him through it. The girl came over the house, and boy, she was just like a Cali girl. And I was like, bro, what's going on here? That's what if your sisters went to somebody's house and was acting like this girl is? Would you be cool with that? Is that the standard?
Mm-hmm.
He was like, no. I'm like, dude, that is unacceptable.
Mm-hmm.
And communicate it. And what was amazing is, not only did we pull my son aside and talk to him, but my wife pulled the girl aside.
That's what I was going to ask you, because what about how was she raised?
That
Yes.
girls, man.
Ooh.
T the gangster. T the gangster. Let me make her a T-shirt to say T the gangster.
T Boogie, that's what we call her.
Yeah, T Boogie.
Yes.
T Boogie.
Till you
I love
Boogie
it.
showed up like, girl, let me teach
Let me
you.
holler at you.
Oh,
It's so good. I see my dad's in the comments.
I got to get Jaleel over here for just a moment, because I think my computer
so
went down.
Paul is a funny dude. He said, Paul said, I hope Reverend Earls knows that only female mosquitoes bite.
Oh, yep.
And then to that point, my dad said, Paul, I want to
Okay, there
be
you
so full
go.
of
Thank
Christ
you.
that if a mosquito bites me, it will fly away singing, there's power in the blood.
Oh, thank you,
Bob.
Pop
Get 'em, Bob.
Earls. Thank you. That's
I
a
like
good
what
one.
My comedian friend Chris from San Francisco, a Cali dude. Sorry, Chris. It is what it is. He said, sometimes when they say yes to the dress, they also say yes to the mess.
That's so true. That's so true.
You can tell.
Because
That's a reality show right there.
Because you don't know, you just want to say, you just want to have the. You know what? I'm gonna tell you something. Fairy tales have messed women's minds up all these years. Ever since the first one, was it Snow White and Disney? Ever since the first one, they have messed us up because we're waiting for the Prince Charming. We want the big, the big dress, as you said, the big wedding and whatnot. But what happens? They always end it. They lived happily ever after. Okay, so how did they live happily ever after? And that's where the marriage comes in.
And that's funny. Because I tell a couple of times I don't do weddings, I do marriages.
And that's yes.
That's my thing. I'm like, no. If all you want me to do is officiate a service, no, you can call somebody else for that. I don't need a gig. I train people to stay together.
That's it. There is no divorce.
I ain't worried about standing up front for no photo op. I got enough pictures of me around here. I know I'm a Kappa, but I'm not that vain.
Ooh.
I mean, no. That's your day. You can take all the pictures you want. You can do all that. I got a photo album full of mine from 20 years ago. If I want to see me stand at the front of the church, that's not it. This is about teaching you how to stay together and produce a whole nother generation of family and how to represent Christ in the earth with your relationship, because people don't even understand what this is about. And that's why this is so important for us to be able to get this kind of stuff, to help people get this, to see what this is really about. And so many times I think, when we're raising these kids, like I said, a lot of times we're raising, sons, and nowadays is what I see a lot. Sons are being coddled. We raise daughters and we coddle sons, because a lot of times when single mothers are raising their sons, they baby them because that's my baby boy. But daughters, they're a lot harder on them because they want them to be, these women. They want them, like you said, to be protected. They don't want them taken advantage of, so they're trying to protect them.
Right.
And it would be the opposite. If a man was raising a son, he would be a lot harder on him. But because you have women raising their sons, they're coddling them. And you don't realize that dude is supposed to be the head somewhere.
Come on, sir.
I was telling somebody the other day, anything that comes to my house got to go through me.
Yep.
You can't talk about Pastor Stephanie, Kaya, Courtney without dealing with me. I had a situation, I think it was about a year or so ago, where somebody had made a statement about one of my kids to somebody. And I told her, no, I said, I'll deal with that. And I called her just as nice. And I told her, I said, yes, ma'am, I understand you have some questions about, and the first thing I asked, I said, your husband home? No. I said, is your daughter home? No. I said, well, just want to let you know, if they have a problem with anything I say to you, tell them call me. I said, but I need to let you know that if you have any questions about anybody in this household, you call here first.
Yes,
I said, I want you to have my number. You call me first. Well, no, I didn't mean it. No. Let's not get this twisted.
Right.
Yes,
Call
you
me
did.
first.
Oh, no, I didn't. Yes, you did. But let's be clear. If you have any questions, you call me. Don't call my wife. Don't call nobody else. You call me. I answer for this family.
Man.
And that's what a man's supposed to do.
They
I ain't sending you to answer the door at night. You ain't got to answer the phone with no bill collector call. There's not. That's what a man's supposed to do. And so you got your son, and you drive. He's sitting on the passenger side. You driving. He pumping gas and doing all this, and then you expect to send him to my daughter? He gonna get his feelings hurt.
Man, I tell you, somewhere in the world there's a like a little handful of Pastor Tucks and Pastor Jasons out there, and women are looking for them. And speaking of looking for stuff, if you're looking for promotional products and apparels, look no further than P&B Promotionals. Place your brand and logo on just about anything. With P&B Promotionals, over 800,000 products, hats, mugs, backpacks, bottles, cups, drinking glasses, lip balm, chewing gum, candy, and of course, t-shirts. P&B Promotionals is a nationally certified advertising institution. Log on to pnbpromotionals.com and start your own order now. pnbpromotionals.com. Imprinting the best for less. P&B Promotionals. So we had to get that in.
Yeah, we got to get some My Church Channel.
And
My Church Channel gum.
there you go. Oh, that would be awesome.
That segue was amazing.
I'm telling you, not only they.
Speaking of Segway, you can get you can ride a Segway or ride your car to my church. They have an app.
That's right. Well, speaking of my church now has its own streaming network with programming such as The Word at My Church, The Man Cave, Women of Worth, Marriage Seer Training, Medicine for the Mind, From the Heart of the Pastor, which I can hardly wait to see, and of course, the brand new Akintunde show. So we're asking the entire show family to go download the channel and the app. Simply search for My Church channel on Roku, Fire Stick, Apple TV, or visit mychurchchannel.org. You can also download the My Church on the Go app from the iOS or Android store on your tablet or smartphone. So go ahead and download and get My Church anytime, anywhere that you need it. So, Pastor Tuck, we are so
the new
happy.
Season of the Man Cave actually premieres tonight at 7:30 on the My Church channel.
Yes.
And ladies, I know y'all been asking for years. Y'all want to
Yes.
get into the Man Cave. See what we talk about? Well, guess what? We public now. So all you got to do is download the My Church channel and you can check out the very new episode of the Man Cave tonight with me and Brother Corey Coleman. So you'll get to see how we get it in with the brothers tonight.
Wow.
In the Man Cave. Brothers, make sure you come check out the Man Cave tonight. 7:30.
All right, come on, guys. So we're gonna read a couple of these comments, and then I'm gonna try to do the Kingdom Business Network. I'm gonna try to do the Kingdom Business shout out today. So, I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. So I'm gonna pull up. I'm gonna start. Okay, so Ashley Bailey, and I apologize, y'all. I don't have my glasses, so it's a little difficult for me to read it. But Ashley Bailey says, I feel like an altar call is coming on. I see her saying that. Kimberly Morgan said imitation. So talking about what we were talking about earlier there with the light being an imitation and us traveling to the imitation light and getting zapped. So
exactly.
We're going right into death. Kimberly Morgan also says people are doing wifely and husbandly duties in the dating scene. And they are, another form of imitation. That's not your wife, that's not your husband, but you doing those duties in the dating scene. So, a lot of those don't last. So let's see.
See Chris Rossetti said,
go ahead and read it for me.
We got a reverse spam. He said, DM me if you want to learn how to turn $3,000 into $5.
Oh, right. I don't see any spammers in here today. Thank God. But you know what? The spammers need God too. So let them come on in.
Before you do the Kingdom shout out, I just want to shout out to y'all because I gotta go. I gotta trip out.
Yes, sir. Love you, brother. Appreciate you, man.
All right.
Love you, Jason. Thank you.
Indeed.
Thank you. Let's see. I don't know if I could do the Kingdom. I'm looking for somebody. Pastor Tuck, look in there, see if you see somebody too. We want to do the Kingdom shout out because I just love that. Let's see if I can get somebody. Okay. Okay, let's try, let's try Jermaine Summers. How about that? Okay, all right. So I'm gonna go with Jermaine Summers, you all, and let's try this, Pastor Tuck. Let's see how this works. Oh, here we go. Hey, cricket letter. Woo! Woo! I love it. Let's go. Yes. Yes. Cricket letter, cricket letter. Yes. Yes. Okay. So our Kingdom Business shout out goes to Jermaine Summers. He's a God-fearing husband, father of 3, real estate, and he works with drones, looking to connect with with like-minded people in real estate, investing, business, credit, and stock market. Soon to be a certified FAA drone pilot that will specialize in real estate, aerial photography, videography, and 3D virtual tours. So come on, Jermaine Summers. Jermaine Summers, y'all go ahead and follow him on the Kingdom Business Network. Come on, Jermaine, we're going to follow you. Here we go. All right. So thank you. All right, business. All right. So Jaleel has a question, and we're going to put Jaleel. Go ahead and ask your question, hon. I'm going to unmute you. We're going to ask your question. Go ahead, Jaleel.
I figured this question was good to ask on the show as opposed to off. So I'll make it quick. But I want to ask, and I'll be quick about it. I know the show got in.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Okay. So I know that you said it earlier in the show, and it's been sticking with me the entire time. I wanted to ask. I know for me, sometimes even seeing my own father and other men's, it's been a source of anger, and even some resentment for me, but mainly anger. This thing where.
Okay, we got Jason.
Lost you, Jaleel.
Oh, sorry. I'll keep speaking. Sorry.
If you and hold on for a minute, I think we can hear Jason. If you can mute him.
Oh no, I can't. He left. He's left Ecamm.
That's somebody in Clubhouse.
Yeah.
Oh, somebody in Clubhouse. Okay. If you're in Clubhouse, please put yourself on mute. We can hear you. Somebody
that's
with
Jason.
That's Jason, right?
Yeah, Jason got to mute himself in Clubhouse.
Okay. Oh, there he goes. Okay, he just did.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice.
Go ahead.
Okay. Whoop.
I wanted to ask simply. Well,
Sorry.
It's two questions I ask quickly. Is a man supposed to handle absolutely everything as the man of the house? And my second question is it okay for a man? Should a man be expected to run himself ragged for his family? Or, that's really
yes,
because I know. Oh my goodness. No, but I asked those questions because those are like serious concerns. So I won't go any deeper than that. But yeah.
Okay.
All right. This is first of all, I'm gonna take you biblically and help you understand and give you take you out from there. The Bible says that husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church. And what did Christ do for the church? He laid down his life for the church. So basically, as a husband, you should be willing to die for your wife. You should be willing to basically lay down your life. So basically, you should put her in a position of priority over yourself. And one thing I think most people don't understand when it comes to the marital relationship, the first thing I tell people, if you're still selfish, you're not qualified to be married. Selfishness is the kryptonite to marriage, because in order to be married, you have to be in a position where you're not selfish, because in order for you to be able to be what you need to be for your family, to be for your spouse, you cannot be selfish. And so it says, husbands, love your wife as Christ did for the church. And what did Christ do for the church? He put the church before himself. And so that's what you're supposed to do. Now, does that mean that you do everything? No, because it says, wives, submit unto your husbands as unto the Lord. So did Christ do everything for the church? No, he gave the church their instructions. So he delegated to the church. There's certain things that the church was supposed to do. And so the church has to do those things because the church's job is to help him fulfill the assignment that he had. Like he told us to go. Remember, he told the disciples to go out and to spread the gospel, to make disciples of all nations, to baptize, to do those things. So our job as the church is to help him fulfill his assignment. So if that's the case, if wives are supposed to submit unto the husbands as unto the Lord, if her job is to submit, which means to come under the mission. So if her job is to come under my mission, and my mission is to lay down my life for her, she should have no problem doing anything possible to support me. And I should have no problem laying down my life for her. So it becomes a complementary thing. And I put it this way. It shouldn't be a thing where I'm out here working myself crazy, doing for Pastor Dev, and she's sitting on the couch eating bonbons. Because that's not supporting me. That's not helping me do the things that I need. So if we, and these are all conversations that we need to have as a married couple. And every couple has to come up with the vision God's given them for their household. And I'll be specific about that. You and your wife get married, for example, right? And you have the vision, God gives you the vision that your wife is going to be a housewife. You can homeschool your kids. She doesn't want to work or what have you. If that's the case, then now you all have made a decision together, because that's not a decision you can make for her. That's a decision you all make together. So now she decides that's the decision you all decide. That's the route we're going. So now you're going to have to do what's necessary in order to make that happen. But if that's the case, if now you're going to have to go out here and work a job, work a business, do all these things, then she's going to have to do the supplementary things, the supportive things in order to make that possible for you.
True.
You follow me? If you decide that y'all are going to work and be a two-parent, a two-income household, and y'all are going to do these things together, then now you're going to have to take your responsibility role as far as, okay, now I'm going to take the lead role, and I'm going to take the bulk of the responsibility because I'm the husband. And as men, we're built to carry more. If like in the example I gave you earlier, you and Donna, you can lift more than Donna can. You're physically built that way. You can carry more than she can. There's certain things that she's better at. And so that it's not imbalanced, she does the things that she's good at, and she takes the load off of you when she can. Just like Jason talked about with him and Terry. When she sees that he's imbalanced, she's going to take those things off of him so that he can do the things that he should. But no woman should sit back and watch a man run himself into the ground.
Nope.
That makes sense?
Jaleel, that makes sense?
It does. It does.
Okay.
It does. It offers
So did
some.
that answer your question?
Wow.
I think it did. I think it offers some clarity.
Wow. Well, we're gonna have to.
But in all of it, we should constantly be in following the leading of the Holy Spirit, because
Amen.
there is no exact blueprint for anybody's household.
Oh.
And just to give you a clear understanding, just a real world example. In my house, when we first got married, both of us were working. My wife and I were both working. Because in some people's house, they like, okay, certain things are women's work, some things are men's work. That's a lie. Both of us had a job. And so some people think, well, my wife ought to cook, she ought to clean, she ought to do these things. Well, first of all, before I met my wife, I had a house. So who was cooking?
You.
Who was cleaning?
You.
Who was washing clothes? Me.
You.
Because I had no wife there. So it would be crazy for me to marry my wife and then tell her to come in and do all the stuff that I was doing beforehand.
Okay.
That would be stupid. So now she comes in, and now for me to expect her to do all of that stuff, go to work, just like I go to work, same number of hours, she comes home, and now I expect her to do all that stuff. And then when it's time for us to have intimate time, where's her energy supposed to be? Who am I actually benefiting? Myself? No. Because now I'm mad, or my wife don't want to be intimate with me. She don't want to spend no time with me.
Because she's tired.
So for me to be smart, it's like, okay, what things can I take off of her plate? So for me, it was like, okay, we got to cook every day. I'll take care of that. Washing dishes, we got a dishwasher for that. Nobody has to actually stand at the sink. That's what a dishwasher is for. So I'll take care of that. As far as washing clothes, that happens whenever she schedules it. We got enough clothes. We don't have to wash clothes every day. As far as cleaning the house, she picks a day when she wants to do that. So now she can balance that, because I can handle coming home and cooking every day. It doesn't stress me out. Women handle stress differently.
Yes.
So she would be more stressed coming home and having to cook every day. And that's in my household. In somebody else's household, a man, he might not be able to handle stress like that. He might not be able to cook. You follow me?
Yes.
So, but to have these preconceived roles of thinking that that's how that's supposed to happen, that's crazy.
Wow.
So you do what works in your relationship and you hear from God. The key is you ought to want to serve one another. And if we're constantly serving one another, then nobody's losing.
And that's awesome. I mean, that's some great advice, Pastor Tuck. And I mean, there is no husband and wife, you know, the gender that we put into cleaning and cooking and all that. There's no more gender roles in that. Everybody should pitch in to make the household run, everybody. So we're about ready to wrap this up. And Jaleel, go ahead and play the last two promotional things. And when we come back from that break, we're going to wrap up. Pastor Tuck, we're going to give you the last word on it. And then we're going to jet on out of here. And if you're just tuning in, Akintunde was not here. He was doing his Attitude Series workshop, but he will be back on Tuesday. So, Jaleel, go ahead and run the last two promotions, and we'll be right back.
Hello, my name is Bahia Johnson, co-founder of Laugh for Life Entertainment and wife of comedian Corey Johnson. After having emergency brain surgery on the eve of my 21st birthday, I battled depression, self-doubt, and anxiety. Even with the support of my family, many times I felt alone, misunderstood, and lost. Things have not been perfect, but thankfully, I'm in a much better place today. My husband and I wanted to create an evening of laughter for those dealing with their own mental health issues. Not only will you laugh, but there will also be information available from mental health professionals to help you along your personal journey. You might ask, why are we doing this? It's because we want to see you leave in a much better place than you came. So join us for a night of laughter for all and healing for some. We look forward to seeing you. And if you would like to support, please consider making a donation.
For more information, go to www.laughforlifeent.com or give us a call at 803-760-2924.
Coming to the all-new WF Media Studios and Event Center, located at 5124 Fairfield Road, Columbia, South Carolina.
Check out my website, JaleelMakes.com. We got logos, flyers, video editing, and other stuff too. Also, if you want to make your stream look professional, check out JaleelMakes.com. I have a brand new package for streamers from YouTube to Twitch, Facebook, and so on. If you need overlays, bumpers, intros and outros, thumbnail and logo design, and banner for your Facebook page or your Twitch page, all for a reasonable amount, I assure you, at least I think is reasonable. Anywho, go to my website, JaleelMakes.com. JaleelMakes.com. If it's on that website, I can make it. So check it out. Check it out.
Oh, wow. Okay, so you all go to JaleelMakes.com. That it cracks me up. At least I think so.
It's reasonable.
I love that. It's reasonable. It's reasonable. Okay. Okay, well, Pastor Chuck, we've come to the end. I just want to say one quick thing is I want to, everybody just pray for Jamie Foxx. Pray for Jamie Foxx, who had a little medical complication yesterday, and we want to make sure that we keep him in our prayers. And from what I understand, he is on the road to recovery. So whatever happened, the family is not letting us know what happened. They just said it's a medical thing. So we just want to keep Jamie Foxx in our prayers. And Pastor Tuck, we'll have to talk about him next time because it's so extensive. His career is so extensive, and we really want to. Yeah, he's a triple threat. Oh man, he's amazing.
Excellent at everything he does. That's
everything. I mean, he has that golden touch. Whatever he wants to do, boom, it just blossoms into success. So, but we'll talk about him next time because we got to land this plane. And Pastor Tuck, go ahead, and we're going to give you the final word on our topic today of how you raising your children.
The main thing I say is this. Mm-hmm. Remember, whether it's lady, man, family, if you're raising a son or daughter, raise them up with the mindset that one day they're going to want to be in a relationship. Because like I said, we were not meant to be by ourselves. You know, God said it wasn't good for man to be alone. So if you're going to raise your sons, you got to raise him up with the mindset that you want him to be a man that's coming to somebody else's house to get their daughter. And you want him to be accepted there. So don't coddle him, make him responsible, make him respectable, teach him how to treat somebody else. Same thing with the daughters. You know, don't make her so what you call independent that she doesn't know how to submit, that she's not going to be respectful. Those things that you know would be unacceptable, that you wouldn't, as a husband, that you wouldn't accept. Don't put that stuff in your daughters. We've got to be mindful of those things, because somebody else's child is going to be the one that they're actually going to go to. And then you're going to be mad when it's like, oh, nobody knows, and you're going to be blaming somebody else for stuff that you created. So you got to be mindful when you're trying to raise up your kids.
All right. So we are out. We're out of time today, guys. I just want to say thank you for tuning in and waiting for us. I know we came on a little late. We thank you for tuning in with us today. Shout out to my grandson Max, who will be 9 on April 15th, tax day. So shout out to you, Max. Happy birthday. And family, thank you so much for tuning in. We appreciate you. We don't take you for granted. Ak will be back on Tuesday and give him a good report about how we did. Right, Pastor Tuck?
Right. Y'all know we're going to hold it down. We're going to hang out with y'all every time. Anytime we get an opportunity, we're going to hang out with y'all, because this is what we love to do.
We love it.
To the body.
We love it. Don't forget to tune in tonight. Pastor Tuck, what's the name? Where do they tune in? To the Man Cave.
Man Cave. All
That's
you got to
right.
do, go to the My Church channel. You'll see us right there. So
All right.
always click on what's live when you go to the My Church channel, and you'll see us happening.
All right. So thank you once again, family, for sitting in with us. We appreciate you. We don't take you for granted. And we will see you on Tuesday next week with Akintunde on the Akintunde Show. Have a good week and a good weekend. Be safe. We love you.
Peace.
Peace.